I was just very honored when she turned to me for this commission because she was looking for some way to celebrate her mother's life, and certainly commissioning a piece of music is a way to do that will hopefully live on. And the exciting aspect about any commission is that you always know that there's an enthusiastic party on the other end who is going to perform it. And according to what Carolyn had said, Rebecca Davy, who is the one of the two musicians at Bruton Parish Church, had spoken about commissioning a new work, and actually quite independent of this. From what I understand from Carolyn, Rebecca had mentioned that Bruton Parish Church would like to commission a work from me. And Carolyn, who had looked for a way to honor her mother, immediately jumped on that, and it was the commission was actually through Bruton Parish Church with the funding through Carolyn. And Carolyn, then, as we were talking about what the nature of this piece would be, obviously with a choral and vocal work, you have to come up with a text. And anytime that I have a choral or vocal commission, I always invite the person who's commissioning it to make suggestions of that. In the end, of course, it always has to be my decision because it has to be a text that somehow I can relate to. And one of Carolyn's close friends is actually a poet, Angier Brock. She taught at Virginia Commonwealth University and now is retired. But Carolyn had suggested that perhaps Angier could create an original poem for this so that it would be kind of a double commission. And I was excited by that because any composer is always excited to find new poets and to find really quality words to set. But I still repeated to Carolyn as we did that that it had to be something that I could relate to, and she fully understood. I mean, Carolyn's an incredible professional, and I might add, so is Angier. And when Angier sent me the initial draft of the poem, which was essentially the finished poem, even though there were still some questions that she had, I was really blown away by her text, not only by her lyrical gift, but how, since Angier had known Carolyn's mother, she was able to instill in this sacred text words from the Episcopal Book of Common Prayer as well as biblical text, and to very cleverly and creatively use words that had a parallel as well with Carolyn's mother. If you read the poem, for instance, without any knowledge of Carolyn's mother, it would sound like just an absolutely creative sacred expression, a lyrical sacred expression. If you know the footnotes, which Angier then sent to me about her craft, the underlying meaning of things, it takes on a lot of double meanings. And that, of course, is really the mark of an outstanding poet who can say so much with a few words, and to also say it in a rhyming scheme, which she also was able to do. She was able to put it in a strophic kind of setting that really makes sense in so many different ways.
Does the fact that this is a very substantial poem, that it is strophic, does that make it any easier to set to music?
No. In a word, it doesn't. Setting words to music, I tend to react very quickly and strongly to words, and tend to translate in that way to sound. But through a lot of revision, I usually find that changes. I said it was strophic. It's strophic in that it's laid out in that way.
Mm-hmm.
The truth of the matter is the poem has other dimensions. I mean, for instance, there are 3 stanzas to this poem. The opening 2 are 4 lines, and the concluding one is 6, which is a wonderful bit of symmetry for me because compositions often have 3s as their heart. I mean, certainly the Mass does with the Kyrie and the Agnus Dei, and it immediately gives you a sense of structure. But the last part of the piece is really a dance-like section that takes off on the word
Hmm.
which is a beautiful way of really describing the Trinity, which she ends it as, because instead of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, she speaks of inventing wind and generous Christ and luminous God. So even in a traditional sort of Trinitarian statement, she's able to say it in such a creative way. But I always find it challenging to set words because I keep going back and relooking and relooking and relooking. But what she has done with this text is just brilliant. And for me as a composer to learn of her work and specifically to have worked with her on this particular piece has been a real joy.